हेलो हेलो आ रही है आवाज भैया?
I request everyone to please take their seats. Please be seated. लेना हो तो मैं ले आता। I request everyone to take their seats, please. I request all to be seated, please. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of High Court of Delhi, I welcome all of you to the inauguration of Delhi High Court Crèche facility. Just as this court is taking great strides in effective and faster adjudication of disputes, it has yet another leap, this time in the area of human resource. By creating a crèche, an effort is made to provide a caring, friendly, and quality environment to children. This step will definitely ensure that the litigants and the staff and lawyers are able to perform their duties more efficiently by keeping their children in safe and responsible hands. I now invite Honorable Mr. Justice VIPIN SANGHI, Acting Chief Justice, Delhi High Court, to felicitate Honorable Miss Justice INDIRA BANERJEE, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Thank you, sir. I now invite Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge, Delhi High Court, to felicitate Honorable Ms. Justice B.V. Nagarathna, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Honorable Ms. Justice Asha Menon, Judge, Delhi High Court, to felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice VIPIN SANGHI, Acting Chief Justice, Delhi High Court. Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Honorable Ms. Justice Neena Bansal Krishna, Judge, Delhi High Court, to felicitate Honorable Ms. Justice Mukta Gupta, Judge, Delhi High Court. Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Mr. Mohit Mathur, President, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to felicitate Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge, Delhi High Court. Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Abhijat, Secretary, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to felicitate Honorable Ms. Justice Asha Menon, Judge, Delhi High Court. Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Ravindra Dudeja, Registrar General, Delhi High Court, to felicitate Honorable Ms. Justice Neena Bansal Krishna, Judge, Delhi High Court. Thank you, sir. I now request Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Chairperson of the Crèche Committee, to deliver the welcome address.
Very good evening to everyone. Justice Indira Banerjee, Justice Nagarathna, judges from the Supreme Court of India. Justice Sanghi, the lucky acting Chief Justice, to be sitting amongst 6 lady judges. My senior colleagues from the High Court and colleagues, judges on and off the dais, members of the bar, staff of the Delhi High Court, and dear children and their crackling sounds and laughter. Welcome to one and all. Today is a very cheerful and colorful day for the Delhi High Court, represented by all the beautiful cartoons and the rainbows in the Crèche, that we are inaugurating our own Crèche facility in the High Court for children. As Mohit said, and as we all know, this has been a long pending demand of the staff and the bar of the Delhi High Court, which has taken fruit today. I want to just place a little bit of a background of how this Crèche came about and how this has been such a long journey. One of the first representations by women lawyers in 1999 was given to the then Chief Minister, Mrs. Sheila Dikshit, for having a Crèche in the district courts and in the High Court. Thereafter, in 2007, in a petition filed by an NGO, the Delhi High Court made a statement before the division bench, headed by Justice Thakur, that we would be setting up a Crèche. It's now 15 years down the line. At that time, there were 5,000 lawyers who were women in Delhi. And today, I'm quite comfortably sure that there would be at least 40,000 women practicing in Delhi, out of a total number of 130,000 lawyers who are enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi. So it's been a long and arduous journey. The High Court has strived under the leadership of several judges to create the Crèche. And it would not be out of place to mention Justice Hima Kohli, who is not amongst us, who could not join us due to her difficulties, who was the first chairperson of the Crèche committee in 2018. And thereafter, the then acting Chief Justice, Justice Geeta Mittal, Justice Hima Kohli, Justice Sangeeta Dhingra, and in 2020 onwards, Justice Palli also was part of that committee. They had identified a place outside gate number 7 for the Crèche, but it was not found feasible due to some objections by the Archaeological Survey of India. And it's in 2019 that this particular site was finalized under the leadership of Justice Geeta Mittal, and the BMCC thereafter under the leadership of Justice Sistani then approved this facility as the final facility for the Crèche. And Mr. Gunmeet Singh Chauhan, the architect, and the NDMC worked together and set up this Crèche. In 2020, this should have been inaugurated, if not for the pandemic. Justice Mukta Gupta and Justice Asha Menon thereafter became in charges of the Crèche committee and have speeded up the process of setting it up. It took a lot of effort. There had to be a lot of changes in the ventilators, etc., which had to be relocated. And as you would have all seen, the Crèche has a play area and various other areas, dining area, etc., which has been made very comfortable for the children. And there is an important feature in this Crèche, and that is the CCTV coverage which is available. The reception area will be always looked after by properly trained and manned staff. If the parents require the CCTV footage, they can also access it on their mobile phones. So this is one feature which has been provided. The Crèche would be working in 2 shifts between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. and 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on all working days of the Delhi High Court. The admission fee has been kept at a very bare minimum, 1,000 rupees for the whole year and 1,500 per month for those who want to regularly use it. If some lawyers and staff want to use it on a per day basis, it would be only rupees 100 per day. So the pediatrician services should be available. The first aid kit should also be available. And the Crèche has properly trained staff. And I would like to mention the contribution of the Registrar Vigilance, the Registrar General, and all the staff of the Delhi High Court who worked very hard to train all of them. On behalf of the Crèche committee, consisting of Justice Asha Menon, Nina, myself, we welcome you all. And first of all, before I end, I would like to thank the acting Chief Justice for having taken the initiative to inaugurate this Crèche. As soon as he took over, he said we need to inaugurate it. We don't need to waste any more time on this. A heartfelt thanks to Indira Di for agreeing to inaugurate this Crèche. Ma'am, you've always told us that you are very comfortable in the Delhi High Court. Welcome back to our midst. Justice Nagarathnna, who's amongst our midst, immediately agreed to join us when the acting Chief Justice spoke to her. Welcome to the Delhi High Court, Justice Nagarathnna. As they say, better late than never. So Justice SANGHI has rung the bell, and here we are inaugurating the Crèche. The famous scientist Albert Einstein once said, you would all be surprised that this was Albert Einstein because we all think of him only as an intelligent scientist. He said, if you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be very intelligent, read them more fairy tales. I hope this Crèche would be a place where the children will read the fairy tales and have more and more dreams. Thank you and welcome you all once again.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Honorable Ms. Justice Mukta Gupta, Judge, Delhi High Court, to address the gathering.
Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Honorable Ms. Justice V.B. Nagarathna, Judges of the Supreme Court, Acting Chief Justice, Justice VIPIN SANGHI, my brothers and sister judges on the dais, off the dais, in the bench and in the bar itself also, my dear staff members, children and everyone present over here. This Crèche inaugurated today is like a colorful flower breaking the monotony of black and white world in which we live the whole day. Though a part of the Delhi High Court complex, yet away from the main building, this Crèche is nestled in the beauty of nature. The number of facilities, we have number of facilities in this High Court, but this Crèche has added colors to it. First time when myself and Justice Asha Menon came to visit this Crèche in February 2021 in the morning, we saw beautiful peacocks dancing here because of this old monument and the greenery here. So the children will not only have a state-of-art facility, but the ambience of this place is very intriguing. And I think they will love every bit of it. I'm sure, like me, many of us will remember the time when this Delhi High Court was built in 1977-78. There was no provision for a separate restroom for the lady lawyers also. Only after Justice Sunanda Bhandare was elevated, the ladies' bar room was created so that the ladies could have some place to sit and use the restroom. The chamber block got the separate ladies' toilet in 1991 only after 13-14 years. Gone are the days when one of the spouses and mostly the mother had to give up the profession to rear the children. Now with the present socio-economic conditions, as more and more women have joined the profession, the necessity of having the crèche had been felt long ago, and there was a constant demand from the bar. And I must state and confess that every woman judge of this High Court has been associated with this crèche. The first initiative was taken by Justice Geeta Mittal, the then acting Chief Justice, when she set up this proposal for setting up a crèche committee, and set up the crèche committee headed by Justice Hema Kohli, who is now the Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Sangeeta Dhingra, Justice Rekha Palli, as also Ms. Maninder Acharya, Ms. Veena Ralli, Ms. Meera Bhatia, Anita Sani, and of course Mr. Sapra and Kirti Uppal. That is the only two men I find the contribution in this crèche. Rest has been all women's contribution. Now they identified the place and built for the building of the crèche, and the space was so identified, whereafter the baton was handed over to myself and Justice Asha Menon. In fact, we've been in a number of committees, but I would say working and creating this crèche was a thrilling experience to have been a part of that team which conceptualized, contributed in coming up of this crèche. So from ascertaining the minutest detail of security, convenience, facilities for the young one, to see that there is non-accessibility to any outsider, yet not secluded, and in the gaze of everyone, it was a daunting task, but there was a lot of encouragement because it was meant for the children. It gives a great sense of satisfaction, joy, and happiness to work for the children. Selecting small little wash basins, pots, tables, chairs, mattresses, creating play areas, selecting the color schemes, the wallpapers, storybooks, games. It was a great experience, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm happy with the ambience of this place, so that every child who comes here will be happy to spend some few hours over here playing with the mates, taking nap, eating their tiffins under the supervision of the staff, as also the family members. It has all CCTV installs therein. The monitor is with the Registrar General's room, and the parents can also download the app so that they can monitor the activities of their children. This crèche facility, let me clarify, is not only meant for the members of the Delhi children, for the members of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, but their staff, Delhi High Court staff, and even litigants who come here. So 3 spots have been identified for litigants who will come, and they can avail the facility of one day admitting the child over there. Similarly, many of the lawyers will not be coming every day. So they have the facility of guest facility so that they can select which day they want to come and book till 5 o'clock the first day, the day prior to the child is to be put in the crèche, and the child will be there in the crèche. So it is not necessary for them to give the entire month's fee for a 1 day or 2 day or 3 day facility. The fee itself is very nominal, as Justice Pratibha Singh told you. And this place with its monument over here and the greenery and of course other facilities will be very nice. But I must say one thing which I missed, Indradi, you could give your cot to the Calcutta Crèche, but I didn't have one, so I could donate one to this place. So, because I had a sibling who used it. I'll be failing in my duty if the work done by Ms. Aditi Chaudhary, the Registrar of Vigilance of this court, is not, and her team is not brought to the notice of every day. COVID or no COVID, she was always there. What thing is to be put, what material, every time she was the backbone of this crèche. And thank you, Aditi, it wouldn't have been possible without you. A big round of applause for Aditi, which she deserves. The crèche, we are sorry for the delay in inauguration. The crèche was ready long back, but we were to abide by the DDMA guidelines and could not have started it since till 1st of March 2022. And now since all is open, here our crèche is there to all of you. And I'm sure this crèche will be getting more and more utilized, and soon there will be a demand for more space, and then to the next team to look over, find out how to expand, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy. Thanks, Justice Indira Banerjee, Justice Nagarathna, all my brothers, sisters on the bench, in the bar, and the staff of this court for the inauguration of this facility. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice VIPIN Sanghi, Acting Chief Justice, Delhi High Court, to kindly address us.
Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Honorable Ms. Justice B.V. Nagarathna, Judges, Supreme Court of India, Honorable Ms. Justice Mukta Gupta, Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Justice Asha Menon, Justice Bansal Krishna, and my brother and sister judges, members of the bar, members of the executive, president, vice president, secretary, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here and to welcome our chief guest, Justice Indira Banerjee, as well as guest of honor, Justice Nagarathna. On this occasion, I can see the enthusiasm that is there in everyone's face. We can see that. And as Justice Mukta Gupta said, this place adds a lot of color and brings a lot of joy on our face. And we all went through the crèche and saw how beautifully it has been done, very thoughtfully. There is not a corner, there is not an edge which is not rounded to take care of the children, that they don't get hurt while they are here. They are playing amongst themselves. And it's a very good day that we are inaugurating. It's a Friday. Friday is supposed to be the goddesses, Devi's day. And Devi is the eternal mother. And this is really to celebrate the freedom of every mother. Crèche liberates every mother, helps her go about her other jobs and what she wants to pursue. It's a way to liberate, particularly the women folk who are working, not just the men. And as said by Justice Mukta Gupta also, in today's scenario, the need of a crèche is not only for women, for the mothers, but even for fathers who may be bringing up their little ones, and they may not have facility to leave their children while they are out for work. Good thing, as pointed out, is that even litigants can bring their little ones and leave them here during the day while they are attending to their courts, to their matters in the court. Mr. Nelson Mandela said, and I quote, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Family is the social unit of the society in which even today mostly women discharge the responsibility of childcare, especially of the infants and small children. This acts as a major barrier to women's equal participation in the workforce. The work participation rate for women in India is low. In the High Court of Delhi, the percentage of women employees is only 23%. One of the factors for low participation is the lack of safe and quality childcare support for working parents. We all can recount instances of brilliant women giving up their promising and flourishing careers or taking a back seat for ensuring that they did not compromise in the upbringing of their children. On the lighter side, if creche facility was available, maybe we would have been seen more movies of people like Madhuri Dixit and Priyanka and Mrs. Khan. This is unfair when done because of lack of choice. Change in the family structure with nuclear families on the rise, single parent families, or where both parents are working has made childcare all the more challenging. The unavailability of safe and uncomfortable childcare facilities affects the choices parents make with regard to their career and nature of employment that they take. This is where existence of crèche or child daycare facilities assume importance. Crèches are a way to empower parents, particularly mothers, by creating opportunities and giving them options to pursue their dreams. Crèches can play an important role in the growth of children during their vulnerable years, and lack of proper care affects children for life. Investing in child care at an early age pays social, educational, and economic dividends over the course of a child's lifetime. A crèche facility is also good from the point of view of employers and employees both. It reduces absenteeism from work, also allows the employees to focus on their work because they can rest assured that their children are being looked after well. They are not very far away from them. In case of need, they can go and attend to the children. As pointed out, one very good facility is the online mobile application. So with that, the parents will be able to actually see what their children are doing, how they are being looked after, and that will also increase the vigilance, and the staff will also be more careful while looking after the children because they know that they are being watched. As pointed out, the work for this crèche commenced in July 2019 under the guidance of Honorable Ms. Justice Hema Kohli and was carried forward by Justice Pukta Gupta, who was the chairperson of this crèche committee. This process got slowed because of the pandemic. The crèche was almost ready, and in the meantime, we reconstituted the committees, and now we presently have Justice Pratibha M. Singh, who is heading the committee, and so she will now have the responsibility of seeing that how this actually works, and if any improvements are required, and the day-to-day maintenance, and how to improve this facility, make it more attractive, see that it is properly utilized. And as it appears from the crowd today, we may very well fall short of the facility very soon. So we will have to also look to increase our capacities. So that's what I would like to say. And thanks again, Justice Banerjee and Justice Nagarathna, for being here. And thank you, Pratibha, for giving me this opportunity of sharing the dais with all women judges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I now request a guest of honor, Honorable Ms. Justice B.V. Nagarathna, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to address the gathering.
A very good evening to everybody. Honorable Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Honorable Acting Chief Justice Sri VIPIN SANGHI and brother and sister judges of the Delhi High Court, learned senior advocates and members of the bar, office bearers of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, Registrar General and registrars of the Delhi High Court, distinguished invitees, members of the press and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I applaud the efforts of Honorable Mr. Justice VIPIN SANGHI, Acting Chief Justice and judges of the Delhi High Court, for overseeing this noteworthy initiative of establishing a crèche from concept to fruition. I congratulate Honorable Mrs. Justice Pratibha M. Singh and members of the Crèche Committee for establishing a crèche for children in the Delhi High Court. And I thank you all for inviting me to be the guest of honor. Let me start with a serious note by saying that no country, no community or economy can achieve its potential to meet the challenges of development without full and equal participation of women. To encourage more parents, especially mothers, to join and remain in the labor force, reliable, affordable and good quality childcare is essential. Around the globe, lack of quality childcare has continued to remain a major barrier to allowing women to participate fully in the workforce. At the same time, employers are struggling more and more ever to address their talent needs, with India being one of the most impacted countries. As far as India is concerned, it is rather disappointing a trend within the labor force in general and in the legal profession in particular, that although the entry of women is increasing, the talent is not being retained. We all know the reasons for that. One of the reasons is the inability to find an alternate caregiver when they become parents and are away at work, which is a contributory factor to such a trend. An initiative which seeks to provide access to quality childcare within the workplace of a parent may therefore be regarded as a welcome and salutary initiative, which would facilitate retention of women within the labor force and in the legal field and other fields. So I again applaud this initiative of the Delhi High Court. We all know that the Maternity Benefit Amendment Act provides for a significant opportunity for working parents to remain in the workforce and have access to reliable childcare. Also, for employers to benefit from a workforce that is focused, engaged, and productive is by mandatorily requiring employers to establish a crèche facility in every establishment having more than 50 women employees. I would say even if there are less than 50 women, it is ideal. Research has shown that where such facilities are provided, the parameters of employee productivity, employee retention, quality of talent made available has significantly improved. I have firmly believed that maternity should not be a barrier for the careers of women to plateau or to dip. Motherhood must not result in a situation where women are passed over for promotions and hiring. It is in that context that I state that providing access to quality childcare at the workplace would play a significant role in ensuring that motherhood does not become an insurmountable barrier to women's empowerment. The responsibilities of motherhood and those of a career are both, in my opinion, pursuits that are challenging for a woman. Let me just recall, yesterday was 31st March 2022. 31st of March 1992, I had this personal experience. My elder daughter was about a year and a half, and I had moved matters in the High Court in order to get stay of termination of lecturers in the colleges, because 31st of March is the last day of the academic year, and stopgap lecturers, contract lecturers, temporary lecturers, whatever you may call, they're all terminated on that day and then reappointed when the academic year begins. It's an unfair labor practice. I had moved these matters because I had to get a stay on that day at about 2:30 p.m. My father was away abroad. My mother was in the hospital. My husband was away at work. And the nanny, the maid who was helping me, and thanks to her, I could continue my profession, legal profession, was unwell and was not coming. What did I do? There's no creche. So I had to put this child, 1.5-year-old child, in the car. And the only thing is I could trust the driver to make her, go to sleep in the car and ensure that the car is placed under a shady tree because March is already very. See, this is the kind of difficulties a woman employee, a woman lawyer, or a woman staff would face. This experience, so I had to balance between keeping the child in the car in the hot sun and getting interim orders of stay of termination for my clients. Otherwise, they would be out of job. This is the kind of balance that women have to face when they are in employment. So what is necessary is this laudable initiative of quality childcare within the workplace. And also, in addition, what is the new concept is childcare leave. I'll not say much about it because it is still being debated, but childcare leave is another concept which must be emphasized. It comes under Rule 43C of the Central Civil Services Leave Rules 1972. I don't know how far the courts have adopted it, where they get 730 days childcare leave over a span of their entire career to cater to needs of the eldest two surviving children till they attain the age of 18 years. This is also given to a single male parent and not just a single female parent or a woman parent. The need for reforms enabling parental participation in development of their children and towards making available quality childcare, even in the absence of parental participation, has been further enhanced in light of COVID-19 pandemic situation. It had for a long time disrupted most spheres of a child's life, causing children to be confined to their homes. While offices and courts required staff to resume attending work, schools were amongst the first to close and the last of the establishments to reopen. Therefore, this situation only intensified the conflict faced by parents and caregivers, particularly the woman parent, which required them to elect between their careers and their livelihood and the well-being, care and supervision of their children. However, accessibility and availability of child care facilities, just like the one we just inaugurated, helps the child in the formative years, and therefore a creche should not be viewed merely as a place where a child is kept occupied and supervised during periods of time when a parent is at work, but as an environment which would contribute to the well-being, intellectual and moral development of a child. Therefore, the creche must be so designed so as to serve as a place where children admitted there take their first steps towards future education. Sociologically speaking, in Indian society, we refer to all women except in their professional capacities as Ma, Amma, Didi, Ai, Tai and Mama. The feminine sensibilities that are associated with a woman are that of care, compassion, kindness and tolerance. Therefore, I am sure that the committee will appoint those staff who have the ability to step into the shoes of a mother and a caregiver while attending to the children in the creche that we have just opened. I am sure that the environment in the creche would aid the intellectual and psychological development of the children who come here and their growth in their initial years. I am certain that with the assistance of the staff of this court, guided by the able leadership and advice of the chairperson and the members of the committee, the environment will evolve into a home as well as a place of learning and recreation for the children. I am sure that the Delhi High Court will lead in this great initiative as it has in so many other spheres. I thank you all for inviting me to this beautiful function, And I thank you for your kind attention. Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request our chief guest, Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to address the august gathering.
Justice VIPIN SANGHI, Acting Chief Justice. My sister, Justice NAGARATHNA. Justice VIPIN SANGHI, Acting Chief Justice of Delhi High Court. Justice Mukta Gupta. Justice Pratibha Singh. Justice Asha Menon. Justice Neena Bansal Krishna. My colleagues of Delhi High Court, all the judges, members of the registry, officers, the lawyers, employees, ladies and gentlemen. I thank Justice Sanghi and all of you for giving me the opportunity of being here at the Delhi High Court this evening. My stint in Delhi High Court was short, but it was indeed sweet. And I carry very happy memories of Delhi High Court. And it is always a pleasure for me to be back at the Delhi High Court. And whenever I get the pretext, I say yes, whenever I get the opportunity. Shortly before my transfer to Delhi High Court, this was either in 2015 or the early part of 2016, a crèche was inaugurated at the Calcutta High Court. And it was the idea of Justice Manjula Chellur, the then Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court. Unfortunately, we didn't have much money. That crèche was set up mainly with contributions from us and some money which could be spared. So my baby cot now adorns the crèche of the Calcutta High Court, the baby cot which I had used as a child. After I came to Delhi, I used to wonder, Delhi High Court had so many facilities. Why not a crèche? But before I could moot the proposal of establishing a crèche, I had to move out of Delhi High Court. But I'm so glad that Delhi High Court may have been a bit of a late starter, but the crèche which I have just inaugurated is simply wonderful. I feel like becoming a child once again, seeing the crèche. And I can well imagine how happy the children are going to be there. The children of today are the adults of tomorrow. And the future of this country, the future of the world, depends on the children, how we bring them up. Children have to be brought up with care, love, affection. They are delicate. If you bring them up well, they grow up well. If you neglect them, then naturally they tend to get spoiled. Parenting is, of course, a joint responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the woman alone. But there is a deep-rooted mindset, and that pervades down through all levels of society, we judges included. I was just wondering, why all the members of the Crèche committee, Hima Kohli, Mukta Gupta, your Justice Palli, Justice Singh, why were they all women? Why no men in the committee? And why did Aditi, who's the Registrar Vigilance, have to be put in charge of the Crèche? This is because of the mindset. It is the woman who is responsible for rearing the child. I'm glad that Delhi High Court has taken this big leap towards discharge of its social responsibility. Its social responsibility towards children, and it's a big leap towards equality, equal opportunity of women. When we bring a child into this world, we are responsible for giving the child a proper childhood and bringing the child up well. When children are left alone, there is some repetition because I'm the fifth speaker in a row, or maybe the sixth. There are more and more unitary families today. In earlier times, in our childhood, there used to be larger families and there used to be many joint families. So the children, they generally got looked after in the family. So even there were fewer women worked, but those who worked, the children grew up with other cousins. There were grandparents, there were aunts. But today, you don't have people to look after. For employees, they are in child rearing is important for everyone. Those who work, those who are professionals, those who are in business. But so far as employees are concerned, officials are concerned, they are entitled to childcare leave. They are entitled to get some leave. What about the professionals? If they have to stay away from the profession for a long time, they will not just be absent for that day, they will gradually start losing their clients. If the shop is constantly closed, the customers will go to another shop. Plain and simple. They may wait for a few days. After that, they'd say what to do. After all, nobody comes to the High Court for fun. There are a lot of stakes involved when people come to the High Court. I feel that this crèche will be of immense benefit, not only to the employees, officers and employees of the High Court. It will be of immense benefit to the lawyers practicing in the High Court. They will be able to practice freely. They will be able to concentrate on their work. There will be less of absence. They will be able to take shorter leave for childcare and maternity. Unfortunately, I was told that the crèche which was established in the Calcutta High Court has virtually become non-functional. I request the members of the committee to give adequate publicity to the fact that there is a crèche. Tell the parents so that they can confidently leave their children in the crèche. I first actually realized the use of a crèche after coming to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has a crèche. My PA used to leave her little child at the crèche and then report to duty. But unfortunately, with the outbreak of the pandemic, the crèche was closed, the courts were closed, nursery schools were closed. And here this lady, she was in immense difficulty. I tried to accommodate her to the extent possible. It was not even possible to bring children out in those days. So she was the one who had to make the sacrifice. She was the one who had to take leave all the time, stay at home to look after the children. I'm sure that a crèche of this kind will help us have a group of children who will become very responsible citizens in future, and it'll give parents, women and men alike a lot of relief to find their children being well tended and well looked after. I was feeling nostalgic, getting reminded of those days in 1962 when many of you were not born. That was the year when I joined the nursery class in Loreto House, Calcutta. We had little chairs like that, but the classrooms were not as colorful and not as aesthetically done up as the crèche here. I congratulate all of you, all those of you who are responsible for the designing, choosing of the furniture, choosing of the beautiful tiles. The idea is simply wonderful. And once again, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be back at the Delhi High Court and meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed enriching. I now request Ms. Rupali Kapoor, Lady Member, Executive Committee, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to deliver a vote of thanks.
Good evening. As rightly said, children are the future. On behalf of President, members of Executive Committee, Delhi High Court Bar Association, respected senior members of the bar, and my fellow colleagues, I would like to avail this opportunity to thank Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Honorable Ms. Justice B.V. Nagarathnna, and also head of our family, Honorable VIPIN SANGHI, Acting Chief Justice, and his companion judges, for taking out time of their busy schedules to grace this occasion of inaugurating the Crèche facility, which was a long-standing request of the members of the bar and a project dear to our executive committee. As we promised during our tenure of elections, which has now been possible with the cooperation and blessings of our High Court. I would like to extend gratitude to the members of the Crèche Committee, Delhi High Court, especially Honorable Ms. Justice Mukta Gupta, Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Honorable Ms. Justice Asha Menon, and Honorable Ms. Justice Neena Bansal Krishna, and other honorable judges of the High Court who had spared their valuable time and efforts to make this dream come true. I would miss my duty if I do not thank Ms. Aditi Chaudhary, Registrar Vigilance, Delhi High Court. Ma'am, thank you so much for cooperating with everything. And Mr. Gurmeet Chauhan, Architect, Mr. Manoj Bhaskar of PWD for giving their valuable ideas, designs and input in bringing in life to the Crèche as it stands today. Not to forget the contribution of Horticulture Department and Registry of Delhi High Court. I would once again thank the Honorable Judges of Supreme Court and our Honorable High Court for this Crèche facility, which would now aid a lot of young parents in attending to their young ones and their profession at the same time. Thank you. And personally, I want to thank my President, Secretary, and Vice President for giving me the chance to speak. Thank you so much, sir. I request you all to join us for the tea and snacks. Right.
Thank you, all of you, for joining us. I now request all to please proceed for the high tea. Thank you.
They are on the swings, and I was getting a little nervous because somebody was swimming rather high.